One of these men helped build the bridge on the River Kwai. What is your name, please?
My name is Ernest Gordon.
My name is Ernest Gordon.
My name is Ernest Gordon.
Only one of these men is the real Ernest Gordon. The other two are imposters and will try to fool this panel. Tom Poston, Dina Merrill, host of the GE College Bowl and the new CBS game show Password, Alan Ludden, and Kitty Carlisle. On to Tell the Truth with your host, Bud Collier.
Thank you, and welcome once again to Tell the Truth. Brought to you this week by Salem Cigarettes. Alan, may I say on behalf of all of us what a real pleasure it is to have you with us tonight.
Well, Bud, it's a pleasure to be here, except it's kind of strange to be on this side of the moderator's chair.
Frightening, isn't it?
Yes, to tell the truth.
Well, have fun, and open up your affidavit envelopes, if you will, tonight for the first-time panel. Take out the cards and follow along as I read from this first one. I, Ernest Gordon, was in Malaya as a captain in the British Army when the Japanese took Singapore. With other British officers, I tried to escape in a native boat. After several weeks at sea, we were captured and taken to a prison labor camp in the valley of the River Kwai. There, in the 120-degree heat and on a starvation diet, we were put to work building a railroad and constructing the now infamous bridge on the River Kwai. I have written the story of the heroism and self-sacrifice of these tortured, almost hopeless men. I call my book Through the Valley of the Kwai, signed Ernest Gordon. Well, we all heard these gentlemen claiming to be Ernest Gordon, who helped build the bridge on the River Kwai. Let's begin this first round of cross-examination with Tom Poston. Tom?
Thank you, Bud. I don't know too much about this from any aspect, but I would like to know, number one, please, where is the River Kwai? Where was the prison camp?
Well, the prison camp was on the Kwai at a place called Kanpuri, which is close to the Thailand-Burmese border.
I see. At what point, number two, did the Japanese take that position in the first place?
They took that very shortly after Pearl Harbor, when they were able to attack from north in China right down through Thailand and Malaya.
Thank you. Number three, did you receive a decoration as a result of this activity you performed on the River Kwai?
Yes, yes.
May I ask the nature of the decoration?
Mentioned in dispatches.
That is a form of a decoration?
Oh, yes, yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Number one, what does your rank look like on your shoulder, may I ask?
3 stars, on 3 pips up on the shoulder strap.
Thank you.
Dina?
Captain Gordon, number one. It says that you escaped in a native boat, or tried to escape. Does that mean on the sea, or on a river, or where?
No, this was on the sea. This was after getting down to, back to Singapore and over to Sumatra, and then on a boat escaping from Sumatra.
And then after that, you were brought into this prison camp where you built the bridge?
Yes,
is that?
yes.
Oh, I see. Number two, who is the actor who played the part of the Japanese general, the commandant, in the movie? Do you remember?
No, I find it difficult to pronounce his name, and I don't remember it right now.
Number three, do you know?
No, I'm afraid I don't.
Number one?
It was, I forget.
Alan?
Number two, do you speak Japanese?
No.
What was your rank, your precise rank in the number one? What was your rank in the British Army?
Captain.
Captain. Oh, that's right. It's here. Well, the River Kwai, number three. The River Kwai runs. Do you know what it runs from? What in the length of the run?
Well, it runs down the valley of the Kwai.
But where does it begin? Do you know?
It begins up on the Burmese border.
Did I understand, number one, that you came from Malaya? You escaped from Malaya?
Yeah, from Singapore. Well, from Singapore over to Sumatra, and then from Sumatra.
What route did you take? I mean, how did you come? You came on the sea, but did you leave? Did you touch any other land?
Well, Sumatra, yes. We had to cross Sumatra before we got the boat.
How long did it take you, number two, to cross Sumatra?
We didn't cross Sumatra. We arrived on the shore, that is the east shore of Sumatra from Singapore, and managed to get some natives to help us to leave on a boat.
Kitty.
Number 2, where were you born?
I was born in Argentina.
Number 3, can you tell me, was there a hot box in the building of the River Kwai the way there was in the movie?
What's a hot box?
Was there a hot box, number 1?
Never heard of it.
No, sort of a shed where they put prisoners. How much weight did you lose, number 2?
I was down to about 60 pounds when I was...
Thank you. Number 3, what's the capital of Sumatra?
Capital of Sumatra.
Number 1, what's the capital of Sumatra?
Bandung.
Number 3, who was the producer of the bridge of the River Kwai?
Spiegel.
Number 3, when you were in this jungle atmosphere, what did they give you to eat?
Rice.
That's all?
Yes.
And that's all the time we have for questions.
Kitty's a regular DA.
Oh, isn't he? Hang on in there. I said, hey, get us all open mouths here. Well, before we close them, suppose we mark our ballots. Will you kindly do that now? And without consultation, vote for number 1, number 2, or number 3. Our team of challengers, as is our custom, will receive $250 for every incorrect vote. How are we? All marked?
Dina?
Oh.
Hurry up.
Not only being a DA here, you're being with us, too. Tom, for whom did you vote?
I voted for number 3. I don't really know why. I was unable to make out whether any of them were misrepresenting. They were all beautifully briefed, as usual, by Willie Stern, or whatever his name is. I really should tell you, his name is Stein, and he's a beautiful man, and he does a great job on the show, but I always tease him about, thank goodness he's leaving.
Dina Merrill, your vote, please.
Oh, but I'm completely in a fog. They all sound so authentic. I just haven't any idea. I voted for number 2. He looks as though he has a great deal of fortitude and kind of inner strength, which I think one would need to go through something like that.
Alan?
Well, I think Willie did a good job, too. I was listening for accents, thinking this would be the way to find it out, but they all sound legitimately British to me. But I voted for number 2 because he seemed to know more about Sumatra, and I also sensed a sort of fortitude there. I'm not at all sure, of course.
You haven't much fortitude about it yourself.
No.
Kitty?
I voted for number 1. He was the one that knew the capital of Sumatra, I think. And he seemed old enough to have gone through this, and he looks as though he lost the most weight.
Alan, you can put your card up there, then. Paul Alder can take pretty pictures of all the votes there we have. 3, 2, 2, 1. All right, let's find out now. We've had our voting, and we've all made up our minds, and if you're playing along with us at home, let's see how you come out matching our wits. As we learn which one of these gentlemen is the one who really aided in the construction of the bridge on the River Kwai. So will the real Ernest Gordon please stand up?
What an idiot.
I'll tell you something, panel. Dr. Gordon, as he is really known, Ernest Gordon, decided in prison camp that if he ever survived, he would devote the rest of his life to others. And he is now a Presbyterian minister and dean of the chapel at Princeton University.
What is the name of his book, Bud? Through the Valley of the Kwai.
Through the Valley of the Kwai.
Well, I'm certainly very interested in reading that book.
Doctor, we're very, very happy to have you here with us. Bless you in your work. Now, number 1, would you tell us your real name and what you really do?
My name is Peter Romilly. I'm on the staff of the English-Speaking Union, which is an organization that exists solely to promote greater understanding and greater friendship between the people of the English-speaking world.
And number 2, you with that internal fortitude that got you most of the votes. What is your real name and what do you do?
My name is Alan McLean, and I have an export business in New York.
Thank you, sir. So now we check our score and find, gentlemen, there were 1, 2, 3 incorrect votes. Not bad. You really sort of pulled the panel over the rocks there in a nice way. And at $250 each, that means, of course, a total of $750 for you, gentlemen. We thank you very much for being with us. On your way out, you will also receive a carton of Salem cigarettes. Good night to you, and God bless. Let's pause pause here a moment to enjoy a beautiful girl enjoying a springtime setting. Now, panel, may I present our next team of challengers?
What is your name, please?
My name is Colin Moore.
My name is Colin Moore.
My name is Colin Moore.
All right, panel, you've had a good look. Now suppose you follow along with your copies of this affidavit. I, Colin Moore, am an astrologer. I'm also a writer. I employ both talents in a syndicated newspaper column called Stars and Lovers, which combines modern psychology and the ancient lore of the zodiac. The column deals with problems of the heart, and in it I answer some of the more than 1,000 letters I receive each week from people who are seeking guidance from the stars. For people who prefer to guide their love lives by lunar rays, I also write a column called Moon Messages, signed Colin Moore. All right, ladies and gentlemen, are you comfortable and ready to play our game? Okay. You've heard them all claiming, as did I, to be Colin Moore, astrologer, and we'll start this one with our own particular stargazer, Dina Merrill. Dina?
Well, number 3, I'd like to find out what a moon message is. I'm fascinated.
Well, a moon message is there are 2 days of each month that are controlled by the moon. Now, I use that term as a name for my column.
But it says it comes, people who guide their love lives by lunar rays. Is that, you mean on those 2 days you get
on
things
those 2 days, we can tell a great deal about it. Of course, you have to go into the ephemeris and you have to have their birth date and the day to study the whole thing.
Boy. Number 2, how many zodiac signs are there?
12.
One for each month?
Yes, one, well, it doesn't quite work out that way.
I never even got to number 1.
Alan.
Number 1, when you go into the ephemeris, what do you go into?
Well, that's where you go to find out exactly where the planets are at the time that you're born. You have to find out where they're situated.
I see. Number 2, do you give more weight to the moon, the stars, the psychology, or the zodiac?
Well, actually, they're all important. All of them have a relative bearing on the matter completely. But I work a good deal with psychology as well.
Do you, number 3, do you receive more letters from men than women?
No, I receive more letters from women, and I specialize in the advice to the lovelorn. I'm a writer primarily, because I've had enough experience. I've been married 4 times.
Kitty?
Number 3, is this by choice or by accident?
Well, let's say a little of both.
Number 1, when you draw up your chart, aren't you quite a bit ahead of time? How does this work out with the people who are trying to find out what's happening at the time?
Would you mind repeating that question?
Well, it's a little complicated. If you draw up the chart ahead of time, when you do your column, aren't you a little bit ahead of time? How does it work out with the people who want to know at that moment what to do?
Well, they'd have to wait until you drew up the chart before you could
Number
tell
2,
them.
who is Evangeline Adams?
She was a columnist.
Tom.
Thank you, Bud. Number 2, if I found out that I was under the influence of Montevecchi, what effect would that have on my love life?
I frankly don't know how your love life would be affected, if at all, because I don't know what it is.
Who's Montevecchi?
Made that up. He does have to confuse them.
Number 1. I bet you Johnny Carson could have told me a few things about it. Number 1, what is a cusp?
A cusp is between 2 signs. In other words, if you're born at the end of the month or the beginning of the month, between 2 signs, it's a cusp.
Thank you. That's what you said, right?
All right, panel, that's all the time we have for this one now, so let's get to the business of marking our cusps and lining our ephemeris and see what we have. So mark your ballots, if you will, please, right now. Without further ado and without consultation.
Colin Moore.
Vote for number 1.
Colin Moore.
Number 2 or number 3. Read it in the stars, Tom.
How's your cusp?
That's a sign of the Montevecchi. All right, Tom, for whom did you vote this time?
I voted for number 1. She looked very sympathetic to my problems over here.
Dina, which one do you think is the real one?
Well, I voted for number 2, but for 2 reasons. Even though he couldn't help out Tom on his Montevecchi, because I think her name is Liliane.
Are you an astrologist?
Just because Willie briefed everybody so well, and I think it's a woman's business, and it's got to be a man this time.
Okay. Alan.
Well, in that case,
we're all sympathetic with your problem, Tom, but I think number 3 was my choice for the reason that, well, I liked her candor about her marriages, and if I was going to, I think she looks like a nice, solid lady to have advice from.
4 times you're out. Kitty, your vote.
I can't tell if it's college bowl or password. What is that?
I voted for number 1 because number 2 said Evangeline Adams was a columnist and she was a very famous astrologer. And I don't think number 3 could afford to admit to 4 mistakes in her position. So it had to be number 1.
All right, there we have it once again. If the stars are in the right place and the planets juxtapose the way they should, we'd see whether we're right or wrong. Right now, as we learn which one of these parties is the real astrologer and advice to the lovelorn columnist. So will the real Colin Moore please stand up?
I couldn't vote for number 2 because anyone who doesn't know that Montevecchi is a star doesn't know anything about the heavens, right, Brian?
Right. Okay, number 2, would you tell us your real name and what you really do, please?
I sympathize with Tom about his love life. My name is Edwin G. Lax. I'm with the Benenson Realty Company in New York City, and we develop industrial and commercial real estate throughout the United States.
Thank you, sir. Number 3, may we have your real name and what you do, please?
My name is Irene Pinault, and I'm employed by Mrs. John Kane Mills as her social companion.
Well, you did very well. It was a half-and-half split here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. You had 2 incorrect at $250 each, a total of $500 from Salem Cigarettes and a carton of Salem's for each of you. If you had fun, we did. You contributed to our pleasure immensely. Good night to you and good luck. I think it's about time now that we took a moment to enjoy some refreshments. Are you ready to watch 2 people in love in the springtime? Here they are. Let's meet our 3rd team of challengers.
What is your name, please?
My name is John Ficklin.
My name is John Ficklin.
My name is John Ficklin.
Again, panel, follow along, if you will, with this affidavit. I, John Ficklin, am the head butler at the White House in Washington, D.C. I have served under 3 administrations. As head butler, I am in charge of the staff of 5 butlers and 1 pantry maid. It is my responsibility to see to the correct service of food and drink on all occasions. My staff must be able to handle properly a presidential reception of 1,000, a state dinner for 100, or a simple meal for 2 in the White House family dining room. Signed, John Ficklin. This time, panel, we have 3 stalwart gentlemen, each one claiming to be John Ficklin, head butler at the White House. And let's begin this round of questioning with Kitty Carlisle. Kitty?
Thank you, Bud. Number 1, how far is the kitchen from the state dining room?
The kitchen from the state dining room is to the east and off about maybe 50 yards.
Number 2, do you have a gold service that you use at state functions?
Yes, we do.
Number 3, do you know what a tweenie is?
I didn't hear you.
A tweenie. What is it? Number 3, what is Carolyn's horse's name?
Macaroni.
Number 1, when you go from the state dining room to the kitchens, do you have dumbwaiters or do you roll it along on trays?
The food is brought in before dinner in most instances.
Thank you.
Said he had waiters, not dumb waiters. Tom.
You know, dumb waiters
Oh,
go
it's
up
my
on
turn.
pulleys.
Number 2, do you know the French word for a wine steward?
No, I do not.
Do you happen to know number 3?
No, I do not.
Number 1, just by chance?
No, I'm afraid I don't.
Number 1, do you wear livery?
No, I do not wear livery.
Oh, you don't. Do you, number 2? Do you, number 3, please?
Yes.
What is the word livery derived from? Do you happen to know that?
No, I don't.
Number 3, can you tell me what a butler's pantry is?
Yes, the butler's pantry is a part of the kitchen that leads into the dining room where the wines, the silverware, and the things that a butler has to use are placed in this pantry.
Dina.
Number 3, when you have a large reception, what caterer do you use in Washington?
One of the caterers that we have been using is the day caterer.
Day?
Day.
Number 2, what one do you use?
The White House staff take care of its own parties. They'll only employ special people to come in and help.
I see. Number 1, what is the name of Mrs. Kennedy's social secretary?
The Miss Kennedy's social secretary is Miss Baldrige.
Yes. Number 2, what's the name of her press secretary?
I can't think right now.
Number 3?
Number 3, what's the name of her press secretary?
Who's president?
Oh, Mrs. Kennedy's press. Number 2, when you serve a simple meal, what is a simple meal at the White House?
Well, you would say a small meal would be soup, main course, a salad, and dessert.
Number 3, when you have 5 butlers.
That's all the time we have. 5 butlers or not, it's time for you to get someone to mark your ballots, if not yourselves. So kindly do so as the first course of this last meal. And mark now without consultation for number 1, number 2, or number 3. Oh, the gentlemen are pondering and Dina's pondering there. Tom, you marked?
No, not yet.
Please do.
Gosh, I just, I'll say number 3 because I was fine until he didn't know the press secretary, Mrs. Kennedy's press secretary. There's no reason why he should especially, but I like the way the first one knew Miss Baldrige. Scared
Dina, what about your vote?
Well, I like the way number 1 knew Miss Baldrige, too, and I don't think that a head butler does wear livery. They usually wear tails and, you know, so I voted for number 1.
Okay, Alan?
Well, I was torn between number 2 and 3, but I went for 2, so that is a good chance he's wrong, but I went for 2 because it seems to me that the White House wouldn't have its parties catered, but I don't know. I've never been to one.
We'll have to get you
Yeah, lots of
invited.
company on
Maybe I might. I'd love to.
And Kitty?
I voted for number 1 because we didn't ask him who catered the White House parties, but he did know Tish Baldrige, and I have a feeling that he looks terribly competent, able to handle any emergency.
Okay. Alan, would you put your ballot up front there?
I'm sorry.
Okay, there we have it now, our own moment of truth again as we come down to the line to find out which one of these gentlemen is the real head butler at the White House. So will the real John Ficklin please stand up?
You got it!
Alan got it. Good for you. Thank you, sir, very much. Okay, Alan was the only one that got it that time, wasn't it? Yes. Okay.
Well,
Number 1, would you tell us your real name? You got most of the votes, and what you really do, please.
My name is Hilton Hill of Hamilton, Bermuda, and I operate a vacation service here at New York.
And number 3, may we have your real name and what you really do?
My name is Jim Dickerson. I live in Pomona, New York, and I'm a fashion artist.
Hey. Well, we come down to the wire again, and the panel hasn't done too well tonight. You've all done pretty good. $750 the first time, $500 the second, and here we come again with 3 incorrect votes, $250 each for a total of $750 from Salem Cigarettes and a carton of Salem's for each of you. Thank you, gentlemen, very much for being with us. Good night, and God bless you. Gentlemen, may I just say to you that when you buy United States savings bonds, you not only buy a share in America's future, but you buy a better financial future for yourself. Any bank or the place where you work can set up a savings bond purchase plan for you on a regular basis. So invest in a stronger America. Buy United States savings bonds. That's all the time we have. Good night, panel.
Good night, Bud.
Good night, Bud.
Bud Collier saying good night from Salem Cigarettes and reminding you to tell the truth. Good night, everybody.
To Tell the Truth is a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production. To Tell the Truth has been brought to you tonight by Salem, the cigarette that refreshes your taste. This is Johnny Olson saying goodnight for To Tell the Truth. This program was pre-recorded.